In the beginning, it was just a peaceful, rural farming community, nestled in those forever rolling hills of North Missouri. But that all changed in 1888. Or did it?
Santa Fe, came the cry from the west, and they did. Yep, it was the railroad that put Ethel on the map. Pretty little town, isn't it? Actually, Ethel was the name of the depot. Ratliff was the name of the town. It was confusing. So in 1890, it was decided that Ethel could cover both. She had a healthy infanthood and took off growing like there was no tomorrow. People traveling the rails were blessed to come through these parts, and the farmers here and from as far away as 40 miles would keep the depot of Ethel hopping as they brought in livestock and produce for shipping. Times were good. Then disaster hit. The Great Fire of 1901. It nipped 22 businesses on Commercial Street in the bud. That's right, 22. Just as the train had sparked Ethel's beginning, its wild sparks set it ablaze again, but not for the better. Surprisingly enough, though, Ethel didn't reach its population peak until 1910, with 423 citizens. From there it was downhill, but at a sorghum drips pace. You see, roads opened and the horseless carriage stepped up the drive to bigger cities. New Cambria, Macon, Kirksville, folks could pretty well come and go as they pleased. Over the years, not as many came. Others went. Some moved. But most just lived out their lives here. Considering the transportation available today, and that the business district is down to a gas station, and, knock on wood, a post office, is it really so bad that those in Ethel who have come to their senses, so to speak, stand at 145? Who are these people of Ethel? And what do they think about their town? One proud Ethelite is noted historian Warren Lee. Jack to those of us from Ethel. He can tell you about the many exciting events that have taken place throughout the years. Take Law and Order, for example.
I'm always amazed at how much effort went into tracking down these what nowadays we think of a minor crime, someone stealing $9 worth of goods from a store. Why, they chase them to Buffalo or to Bering and different places.
And just round up the posse? And
yes.
Would be local citizens?
Sometimes. There was one case right here where a group of citizens got on the train here at Ethel, and they got on a passenger train because the people they suspected had gotten on there too, so they just got on also and trailed him over to Elmer.
They got him.
And then they arrested him there.
Then, no doubt, the culprits were brought back to the Ethel jail, if it was standing then.
And once, 1899 or 1900, somewhere along there, someone set it afire. And
Dr. Burn things in Ethel, don't they?
They got it put out before it burned down. But the person came back and set the fire again the same night and burned it to the ground. They caught him. And
was it a former prisoner?
He may have been, but it didn't say that.
Just a pyromaniac.
But they caught him and had a trial and fined him $50. I think it was that high so they could rebuild. We've had 3 serious crimes in Ethel. 2 of them stabbings. One of them fatal, the other one not.
That victim decided to leave Ethel for a calmer town. He moved to Dodge City, Kansas. Ethel is full of great stories and interesting facts. Jack Lee ought to know. He's been writing her history for the good part of 20 years now. Using his favorite typewriter, a 1923 model, puts Jack in an appropriate nostalgic mode. So much work now recorded between the covers of the prize Centennial book.
Each chapter I tried to put in kind of a biography section or go into a little detail, more detail about individuals that were kind of influential in a particular decade of the town, or maybe they covered more than a decade, maybe. But I would pick out one chapter and talk about it in a little more detail to let people know what they were like. And, someone I think who was important for the community and well known nationally too was Fines Clary. Fines Clary became a great hatcheryman, chick. In fact, he became national president of the American Chick Association, or I may not be using the correct terms, but he was the second president of that organization.
Let's take a look at Ethel, shall we? Here's an old photo looking north to the depot in the business district. See that structure? That's the Drew Building. How about that? A professional building, 3 stories high in Ethel. Dr. Drew, pictured here with the Oddfellows, came from a well-to-do family in England.
What would possess him to come to Ethel? Not that anyone has to be possessed.
Well, I guess he just recognized opportunity.
Good answer.
This land of opportunity didn't change much over the years. Today, the view is a little different. Not as many buildings, but it's in color. And the Ethel Lake. Many a little boy made her waters their second home in the summertime. Built alongside the track, it supplied water to trains. We hear tell it provided a refreshing swim for 700 soldiers on a troop train during World War I. And this is Main Street in our town. Looks like a slow day. There's the post office. Hi, John Howard. That's the schoolhouse, used up until 1980. The school system has turned out some top-notch scholars. Sports were big too. Baseball and basketball. People today still talk about the Ethel Eagles basketball team who almost went to the state back in the 60s. They were the same boys that went to state with their choral selection that year. There's more in Ethel, but you really need to see for yourself. Something one can always sniff out here is food. Good food, and lots of it. Pies, fried chicken, all the fixings. Good old clog your arteries, tasty homemade foods. We in Ethel know it's not fair to the rest of the world that God put many of the best cooks right here in one tiny geographical location. But our stomachs are grateful. Neighbors often find themselves on each other's doorsteps with gifts of fresh pickings from the garden or a hot loaf of bread straight from the oven. That's what makes the food taste so good, the people, and the generous way in which they dish it out to others. Not just food either, but a helping hand when needed. It's the people, old, young, and in between. And for a town so small, we again have more than our fair share when it comes to interesting people. Paul Williams Jr., a railroad man, lives right by the tracks and is a wealth of information.
My abstract, it says in there that I can't ever sell beer or whiskey on that land. So I'm out. I can't go to bootlegging or anything like that. That just lets me out. A lot of free money there, you see. I can't get it. But that's in my abstract.
Real characters, not carbon copy, how can we make more money kind of people. No, Robin Leach will never visit Ethel, even though she's rich with folks who are real gems. But on the famous side, there has been at least one Ethelite so far. Even had his picture on the cover of Time magazine after meeting with the President of the United States, and it's quite fitting that he worked for the railroad.
He got into union offices, became an officer in unions, and eventually went to the top of the enginemen and union, trainmen and enginemen union. He became national president of it, and as such, he was rather influential. He had conferences with President Eisenhower, he had conferences with President Kennedy, and he had conferences with President Johnson. And he met with Vice President Humphrey and people like this. He'd be at the White House and have dinner meetings with them and things like this.
And he still is living?
Yes, he plans to. He called me about 2 weeks ago and said, if Brush Creek and Russell Fork aren't out, I'm going to be there for the celebration.
The Centennial celebration in August promises to be a big wingding, marking the past 100 years. But what's the future hold for Ethel?
When your town has gone down, then it's, I guess it's logical for people to just kind of accept it. And when you accept it, then it's going to go down more, because you won't make much effort to improve it. I've been hoping that interest in the Centennial might renew the interest of people here. And some of our projects, I think, are having that effect. I know when we started out and we asked for donations and so on like this, it was kind of the general consensus, general consensus of most people that, well, now that's a waste of time. And in fact, one person said, well, why don't you let this little town just die a peaceful death instead of kind of stirring things up? But in 3 years, and the Centennial Committee's been in existence for 3 years, we've been able to buy some lots and build a park. And we built a bandstand that was, we think, probably better than any in the county.
By the way, the lot it's built on is where the Great Fire of 1901 started Ethel's premature decline. Ironic, huh? Go ahead, Jack.
It is. The city has gotten into it and kind of excited about things. And they've done more this past year of getting rid of old, trashy buildings or cutting the brush and weeds along alleys and streets, keeping them down. And then the city and the Centennial Committee and the Chamber of Commerce each donated some money for, if anybody would paint their house, we'd pay for half the paint. And I think we've had 13 painted in 2 years.
That's good.
And more are going to do this year.
Even put up street signs, just like a regular city.
People in other towns have begun to notice this.
Mm-hmm.
There's hardly a week goes by now that I don't get a call or I don't meet someone and they'll want to know what's going on with that. What do you mean you have a city flag?
Are we one? Does any other town in?
We don't know of any town, small town, that has a flag, official city flag. And people, other people give you ideas all the time now. Mr. Hawkins called me one day and says, why don't you have something associated with the other Ethels in the United States.
So, up went a sign. Yep, enthusiasm is on the upswing here. Macon County Sesquicentennial sponsored an old car cruise last year, and again this year. The people of Ethel said, let's see what we can do to drum up an audience. A bake sale, an auction, and little music made it a mini celebration, anticipating greater things to come. Kind of encouraging.
I really, honestly and truly, look at it as a beginning. I think we're going to prove that we can do something here.
Oh, it could. You know, it could.
What makes Ethel unique from other towns? Maybe it's not so unique. The point is that as long as there are people who care about their home, that's what makes it special. It's our town, RFD. If little old Ethel can help to set an example of what can happen when people care, well, that's something. Like 100 other little towns, we may be down, but don't kick us, and don't count us out. Your roots, your home, is worth the uphill struggle. That's respectful. And that's what people here want. It's been said that small town people in rural communities are the best people to know, but that it's not always easy to be accepted by them. Maybe so. These folks can be somewhat leery of newcomers. After all, why would anybody move here? And there have been some not so good experiences, but cities have them too. It's just that they seem more magnified in the less populated areas. Perhaps if they knew and respected the history. Maybe then the bad eggs wouldn't take joy in breaking out windows or scaring the elderly. Don't worry though. Most will agree that the good outweighs the bad. The beauty of a small town is that the focus is tight, and the qualities mostly good are more apparent. Family, tradition, values, Americana, stuff that makes your insides ache. It feels so good. I guess what we're celebrating here in 1988 is 100 years of home. So whether you live in Ethel or New York City, you can have a sense of community, of home. Home is where the heart is, they say. And Ethel, she's 100, and she's home.
You ready to get that?
If I can go to tear me apart, even if it just stays by the road, it'll always have a place in my heart. Ethel's her name, it's funny I know, but I'll make the jokes if you don't mind. No, there's not much left here but the spirit's alive, and the people are the very best kind. Yes, the people are the very best kind. Slowly I'm growing. Some may think it's not worth the time. But Ethel, I hear you cry. Lady, don't you let me die. Place I call home is calling me home. If I can go, it'll tear me apart. Even if it just stays by the road, it'll always have a place in my heart. It's a railroad town, looking up and down. To say it was something in its day. It's a railroad town, now someone slowed down, but it's still on the way for Santa Fe. Place I call home is calling me home. If I can go, it'll tear me apart. Even if it just stays by
townfolk hope Ethel can set an example for others. Is Ethel unique? Gosh, we hope not. That would be selfish of us. No, there's not much left here. But as long as people care about their home, you never know what may be just around the corner.